I've posted more than 10,000 videos, and I've made well over $1 million just from content. But I don't get paid. My company gets paid. And that's because I set myself up as a business. It protects me legally, it saves me money on taxes, and it's just plain professional. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through the 4 steps that you need to take to get set up just like me. Business address, LLC, EIN, and business bank account. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I'm going to teach you how to fill out your own W9 form. Let's start with the business address. There is one key detail that you got to get right. You cannot use a PO box. Banks won't allow it, the state won't allow it, even the IRS won't allow it. PO box is great just for receiving mail, but it does not work for opening a company. And that's why your home address works great. But if you don't want to use your home address and you decide to use a virtual address, do yourself a favor. Google Street Maps the actual address that you're renting. Make sure it's a physical location, not just an anytime mailbox store. Make sure it's real and it's legit. You can get those anywhere from $7 to $30 a month. But what about the location? Where should we get this business address? I need you to get it in the state that you live in, the state where you pay taxes, the state that your driver's license is in. So please don't make the mistake that I made and try and be cheeky by opening up a company in Wyoming when you really live in California. California found out, and now I have to deal with both states. It created a ton of red tape, a ton of headache, and it really didn't protect me with the anonymity that I thought it would. I was misled by TikTok influencers. But hey, I'm telling you now, so hopefully you can avoid the same mistake that I made. When you do get the address, make sure it's in the state that you live in. It will make things easier. And that's the same advice that I have for the LLC. So let's talk about that next. LLC is a limited liability company. It's a way for you to protect yourself legally. It does not change your taxes. It's a container. It's a way for you to separate the business from yourself legally. 99% of us that are doing business have LLCs. You know, there will be some people that will tell you like,
oh, you don't need an LLC. Maybe just wait and just see if it's just...
No, if you even have a shred of seriousness, just open up the LLC. It's a few $100. It's absolutely worth your time. And if a couple years down the road you've found that you don't want it, or it didn't work out, or this isn't for you, that's okay. You can close it and make it all go away. Worst case scenario, you'll be out a few $100. That's pretty low stakes. Not only does it make you more legit and give you more protection, but it allows you to get insurance, to build business credit and take out loans, to get help from the Small Business Administration, and you can even form an S-Corp when you're ready. But you can't do any of this if you don't have an LLC. So how do we form an LLC and where do we do it? We want to form an LLC in the state that we live in, the state that we're doing business in, where we pay our taxes, where our driver's license is. When it comes to opening your LLC, there's 2 different ways to do it. You can go directly to the Secretary of State, which is something that I've done, or you can use a service that will help you do all of it in one shot. It's actually my favorite option, and it's what I'm going to recommend for you today. Because I've used the attorneys, I've used the CPAs, I've gone to the state, I've done it myself, I've paid every single company, well, big company, to do it for me. And out of all of those places, just one had everything I needed. And that's ZenBusiness. Let me give you an example. If you form the LLC on your own, without using a service like ZenBusiness, you will have to get an account with the Secretary of State and open your LLC. Then you'll have to go to the IRS to get an EIN for that LLC. Then you'll need to file your statement of information directly with the state. You'll need to find a registered agent and pay someone to be that for you if you're not going to do it yourself. And lastly, you'll need to submit your FinCEN information to update the government so they know who owns your company. That's 5 different places you've got to learn and get familiar with versus just one when you use a service like ZenBusiness. That's why I'm such a big fan. I like simplicity, and most importantly, they hold on to all my stuff for me. So that way I don't lose it. I don't know if you've ever lost really important paperwork before, but it's a bummer. So when you're done with the process, you can just log into your account and it will all be right there, which is amazing. I'll leave a link in the description so you can follow along if you're ready. Full transparency, I do get paid when you use that link. So if you don't want to support me, don't click on that link. But if you're willing to thank me for making a video like this on YouTube, please use the affiliate link. It really helps support the channel, myself, and the entire team that makes these videos a reality. After you've opened up the link, click on Get Started. The first thing that we have to do is put in the name of our LLC. When it comes to LLC names, they are state specific. So you can have ABC Plumbing in Wyoming and ABC Plumbing in Nebraska. Totally okay. But they don't check before you type it in. So I recommend going to your Secretary of State website and doing a name search. This is what it looks like for California. This way you can make sure you're choosing a name that isn't already taken. Because you fill all this stuff out and then they email you and tell you you've got to change your name. Like, it's not fun. So do the work ahead of time. The good news is that I have a training video that breaks down exactly how to figure out if your name is taken. So if this is something that's really important to you, watch this video right here because it will break down the 4 places that you can search to make sure that your name isn't taken. As long as you check the Secretary of State, you should be fine. Just don't Google it. If you Google your business name and it's available, there are bots that will buy that domain so that you won't be able to purchase it for $10 a month. They're going to charge you thousands. It's a whole racket, so just don't Google your business name. Use the Secretary of State website, the test records, and everything else I talk about in that video about checking if your name is taken. Now, when it comes to the LLC, choose something generic, simple, and easy. I would avoid using your name, and to be honest with you, it doesn't have to be perfect. And you can always change it down the road by filing a DBA or doing business as. So as long as it's not taken, let's move forward. I've chosen VA Enterprises because I want to do lots of different stuff with this company. Next, you'll see that I've chosen California as my state because that's where I live, that's where my driver's license is, and that's where I'm doing business. Third box is your industry, and that's where you'll choose content creation. And don't worry, you can make money in any fashion that you like. Just choose content creation for now. We just need to pick one so they have an idea of how we're starting. Totally okay if you change it down the line or if you do business in other ways. This does not tie your hands in any way. The next question will ask you if you have any experience running a business. This won't affect your application anyway, it's just going to make the questions easier to fill out. The next question will ask you how many employees you intend on having in your first year. An employee is somebody that's on payroll, full-time, that's getting a paycheck with taxes taken out. Just put 0. We don't need to go set up payroll and get workers' comp insurance and deal with all of that now. Just keep it simple because you can always hire people and add them into your business later. The next question will ask you if your business address is different from your home address. So if you're using your home address for everything, no, it's the same. You're good to go. But if you're using a virtual address, you'll need to make that distinction here. ZenBusiness needs to know so they can send you all the stuff after this is complete. The next question will ask you how far along your business is. This won't affect your application in any way. It's for ZenBusiness, so put whatever you like. Then you can select your business goals and hit next. Here's the registered agent section. It's asking you whether you want ZenBusiness to be your registered agent or not. A registered agent is a person or a company that will accept mail on your behalf during business hours. Government doesn't want to go hunt you down if you're on vacation, so they require every single LLC to have a registered agent. Now you have a couple options. You can pay ZenBusiness to be a registered agent for you, which I think is the best option. You can be your own registered agent by putting in your contact information, including your home address, which will dox you and it will be in the public domain. Or you can go find your own registered agent service, hire them, and then put in their address and information here. Just know that whoever this person is, they need to be able to receive mail for you on your behalf during business hours, Monday through Friday. Let's go to the next screen. Notice how the starter pack is $0 plus a $70 California filing fee. That $70 filing fee is the fee that the state charges. Remember, it's unavoidable and every single LLC has to pay this fee. And it's going to be different depending on your state. So yours might look different than mine if you're not filing in California. This is one of the great things about ZenBusiness. If you just want to get it done super simple, they won't charge you anything extra to make it happen. However, I suggest choosing the Pro membership because it's very reasonably priced and it covers all those extra little details that I talked about, and it will make your life so much easier. Some of these extra items will help you stay compliant. You'll be able to get your EIN, and you'll even be provided with an operating agreement that will help you outline how your company operates and who does what. Now, if you're comfortable with it and you want to go with the premium, do it. It's only going to make life easier. But for now, the Pro package will be just fine. The next screen will ask you if you want to add in business banking. You have a couple of options here. Feel free to opt in and pay the monthly fee. What this will do is create a business checking account within your online ZenBusiness dashboard that you can use. If you don't want to use ZenBusiness as your banking platform, that's okay. You're going to have your LLC paperwork and your EIN paperwork. You need those two things to open up a business bank account. I've tested over 11 different business checking accounts. I'll leave a link in the description for the business bank that I use. That way you can take a look and choose what's best for you. Just know that you can have multiple bank accounts with multiple banks. I'm going to say no to the website builder on this one. I'm also going to say no to the legal docs. I've paid an attorney over $2,000 to put together all of my legal docs, and I've been slowly building up this Google Drive folder over the last 5 or 6 years. So I personally don't need any new ones. Feel free to purchase them from ZenBusiness, but if you want my legal docs folder for free, I'll put a link to my Google Drive folder in the description for you. Think of it as a thank you for watching my videos. It really does mean a lot to me. Yes. We're at the review your order screen. We first have to submit our payment. I used a business credit card for this, but if you don't have a business bank account set up yet, that's okay. You can just use your personal credit card or even your debit card, and then you can reimburse yourself from the business later on. It's really simple, so don't let this hang you up. All of the things that we're spending money on right here are business expenses, so keep track of your receipts. This way you can reimburse yourself and make sure that these expenses are properly written off. Once you have your payment information in, go ahead and hit next and move on to the next screen. They need a few more things to make your business official. The first is whether or not you want to file this LLC in the future. Very few people do this, but let's just say it's December 25th and you don't want to form the LLC until next year. That's how you would use this. But 99% of people are simply going to form the LLC right now and not wait. That's what I do. That's what I recommend you do too. The next question is about your company indicator. How do you want the LLC to appear at the end of your business name? Every time you fill out paperwork or write this business name down, you're going to have to type it out exactly as it appears legally. So for simplicity's sake, I recommend LLC. Next, you need to let them know whether you're selling services or products. In our case, it's services, and then we're going to go answer a few compliance questions. The government wants to know if you're involved in gambling. Make sure you click no because we're not. We are content creators. Now, on the next screen, they're going to ask you how much money you intend on making in your first year of business. Just be honest, it's not going to affect anything. They just want to know whether they need to set you up with an S-Corp or if it's not appropriate yet. It's just a way for ZenBusiness to serve you better. The next question is about your industry. And we touched on this a little bit earlier, but they want to get some more details to make sure they have your NAICS code right. So in our case, we're going to choose arts, entertainment, and recreation. For the second question, we're going to put independent artists, writers, and performers, and we're going to answer the exact same thing for the third question. This will make sure our NAICS code is consistent and actually describes what we're doing. The next box will ask you to type out what your business does. You can only put in 100 characters here, so keep it short, sweet, and vague. And if you like, just copy what I wrote. I put that I make entertaining video content on social media and YouTube. That's it. That's all you need. Then they're going to ask you about the structure of your company. We want to click on solo. Now, I personally don't think that you should partner with anybody. Even if you have other people that want to help you and whatnot, you can add them into your business later on. In the beginning, I recommend forming a single member LLC. That's just you. But what about my wife? Like, we're married, we file our taxes jointly. Wouldn't it be better if she was on the company too? Like, does that make sense? To be honest with you, it doesn't change anything. Most states are community property states, especially if you are filing your taxes together. So the IRS looks at you and your wife as one person. So it doesn't matter if they're on the LLC or not. They still have ownership in it because they're married to you. Now, if you absolutely have to have another person as a part owner in this company, this is where you would do it, but I don't recommend it. You can always add people in later. And as far as future employees go, just select no for now. We can always hire people later on. We don't need to worry about setting anything up for them right now. The next part is where we put in our business address. This is the virtual address that we've paid for or our home address. If you're using a virtual address that has a unit number, make sure you type the address in manually and add the unit number on the second line. Because if mail shows up at this place that doesn't have the unit number, it will be lost and they won't know who it belongs to. So make sure that second line is exactly perfect. After the address has been entered, they're going to ask you a couple clarifying questions. If you're using your home address for everything, you're probably going to check every single box. But if you've purchased a business address like I have, check the first, second, and third box. Now they're going to ask you for your personal home address. Your personal address won't be shared with anybody. It's not going to be on any of your paperwork, but it is where they are going to send your documentation. It's also a way for ZenBusiness to get a hold of you if there's any issues or problems when forming this LLC. Then they're going to ask you about a website. Put in anything you want. I opt out because I don't need one. Now they're going to ask you about all the different members in this LLC. Now, if you followed my advice, it's just going to be you. But if you absolutely have to add other people into this company, this is where you will do it. You're going to need their address and their full name. And in some cases, you may even need their social security number. Now, when it comes to the organizational role, please choose manager. You are the sole manager of this manager-managed single member LLC. This means that you are the only person that's in charge of this LLC and the only one that can make decisions. This way, if you add members in later on, they'll be simple members and they will still have to follow what the manager dictates for this business. It's a great way to have things set up, especially if you're planning on doing a bunch of deals in the future. Manager managed single member LLC. That's what we're after. The next screen has to do with FinCEN, which is the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. There's way too many businesses out there that are doing shady things. So this organization was put together to keep track of who owns what business. And as of 2024, it's a requirement. Every single LLC and corporation has to submit information on who owns what. You can go to the FinCEN website and submit it yourself by creating a login and jumping through all the hoops and filling everything out, or you can just have ZenBusiness do it for you now. Let me pause really quick and just talk about FinCEN because there's some funky stuff going on with the courts. There's a few agencies that have said, hey, this is not lawful, you can't do this, we don't have to disclose this information. So there's a few things that are up in the air right now. So if you want to wait to see what happens to see if this is actually mandatory, you can hold off on this step. But if you're like me and you want to play it safe, just pay ZenBusiness to take care of the FinCEN reporting for you. Okay, let's get back to the video. I'll leave a link in the description for you to make things easier. Just make sure you stay compliant and fill this out every year. We also have to update the state every single year with our statement of information. It costs 20 bucks. And every year I've got to tell California who my registered agent is and who owns this company and where we are at. If you forget to update the state with your information, they will charge you penalties. So it's important that this is done regularly and you remember to get it done every year. They really get mad at you if you mess this up. So I recommend asking ZenBusiness to cover this for you. It's a reasonable amount of money to remove all of this stuff from your plate, so it's just one less thing that you have to think about. This way you can just focus on making great videos and making as much money as possible. I'll let you decide on what you want to do here. Just know that not every state is like California and forces us to submit this information every year. But California does, so if you don't see this screen, don't freak out. You're good to go. This next one is about the customized business kit. It's completely optional, but I low-key love it. There's something just really cool about having a binder show up with all your company documents in it. I don't know, it feels official as opposed to just having everything digital online and stored in a computer. Not to mention, you can take this binder and you can put it in a safe or a safe deposit box or in a safe location so that all this stuff will never be lost. I pay the extra for it because I think it's like a rite of passage, you know, it just feels good. But don't feel obligated, you don't have to do this. I just like it. The next screen will ask you if you want a business license report. What they'll do is they'll look at the type of business that you formed and where you have formed it. And they'll pull a report of all the different business licenses and permits that you need to operate. For people like you and me, this isn't that important because we're not going to be doing physical business in a specific city. We'll most likely be working from home. So I can tell you right now that there are at least 2 permits and licenses that you'll need to worry about. The first is a business license with your city. You're going to go to your city's website and you're going to look for the business section and you're going to look for the part that talks about business licenses and permits. What you want to do is figure out if your type of business requires a permit. Some cities don't care if you work from home. Other cities want to get their 20 bucks from you, even if you're just operating a work from home business. Every city is different, and there's thousands of cities out there. So do yourself a favor and double check that within the next couple of weeks. The second thing is a sales and use tax permit. Now, if you're selling products and physical goods or you've ever planned to, you will need to register with the state to get a sales and use tax permit. California is the CDTFA, and I have to register with them and make sure that I collect, pay, and file sales tax reports every single year. Now, if we're doing services, this isn't something we need to worry about. But eventually, the state's going to start charging us sales tax for digital goods, courses, and online services, and videos. So I would recommend just getting it done. Doesn't mean you're going to have to pay any money, but you can at least register and get familiar with the process, and you can at least have your official state permit. Not to mention, if you want to go buy goods at wholesale and not have to pay sales tax on them, you can give them this permit number and then they won't have to charge you sales tax. So there are a few perks for having it. If you want to look these things up on your own, you totally can, or you can opt in to pay ZenBusiness to pull a report for you and tell you exactly what needs to be done. Totally up to you. Either way, I know you got this. Hey, look at that. We've reached the checkout screen. Fantastic. Okay, right here, it's going to show you all of the services that you've opted in for. And then it's going to give you a total amount of money that you are responsible for. Once you hit next, it will take you to another set of questions to make sure that your EIN paperwork and your banking paperwork is submitted properly. So let me show you what that screen looks like and walk you through it just in case. Enter your social security number and then hit next. Then they're going to ask you if you own a highway motor vehicle. In 99% of cases, the answer is no, because we're not transporting goods and services. We're not causing wear and tear on the roads with heavy vehicles. We're content creators. So answer no and move on to the next question. Next one is about 720 excise tax. The answer here is no, because we're not selling anything that requires an additional tax to be collected and paid. And that's it for the EIN. These questions are so much easier than using the IRS website. And plus, you can make sure that everything matches. Because ZenBusiness is submitting all the information, they're going to avoid all those common costly mistakes. So you should be feeling pretty good right about now. Now, if you've opted into the banking services with ZenBusiness, this next set of questions will ask you about that so you can get everything set up. But if you haven't, I've left a link in the description to the business bank account that I use. That way you can take a look and figure out what's best for you. Remember, all you need to open a business bank account is your LLC paperwork and your EIN paperwork. That's it. You don't need anything else. You can do this with a big bank, a credit union, a private bank, an online bank, ZenBusiness, anywhere. So don't take it lightly. Like, choose a bank that you're stoked on. Now, one quick thing about the business bank account. When you're filling all the information out, you'll definitely want to use your business address, but it's okay to use your home address. In fact, no one's going to be able to see it. And oftentimes it can speed things up and make them easier, especially if you have a virtual address. So it's okay to use your home address for the business banking section if you run into any challenges in the application. Just knowing that should help you avoid 99% of the problems that you might run into. All banks ask you the same questions, so once you've done it once, you'll know the answers to all the questions moving forward. It's really not that bad. You got this. Now that everything is complete, you'll be taken to your online dashboard. This is what it will look like when you log in to ZenBusiness. If you've chosen to use ZenBusiness as your banking service, it will be right here. There's also a bunch of other services that you can add on, including legal documents and web tools and tax services, etc. But the most important section in this entire portal is the Documents section. If you click on Documents, it will show you all of your paperwork. There's two important things here. The first is your LLC paperwork, which is also called your Articles of Organization. The second is your EIN, which is your Employer Identification Number. So anytime you need this information, you can log into ZenBusiness and it will be right here for you. Please download them and save them in a Google Drive folder and print them out and put them somewhere physically. Really important that we don't lose this stuff because we're gonna need it. While you're at it, save the login information too. And that's it. You've officially just set up a business as a content creator. But how do we get paid and when can we start accepting money? In the beginning of this video, I promised you that I would tell you how to fill out your W9 form, which is a form that you need to submit to businesses so you can get paid. A W9 form is a way for a business to collect your information so they can tell the IRS who they paid money to. They need to be able to track everything. Otherwise, the IRS won't believe you. So when you go make money through YouTube AdSense, YouTube will ask for a W9 form. When you receive money from PayPal, they'll ask for a W9 form. When you get paid by a business to make videos for them, they will ask for a W9 form. This is what the W9 form looks like, and I'll leave a link in the description below. The only page that you need to worry about is the first page. But if you have questions on how to fill this out and you want to learn more, you can read pages 2 and 3 because they explain everything for you. Let's go through this really quickly so you can bring your A game when you're doing business with other companies. On line number 1, you're going to put in your name. On line number 2, you can put in the business name with the LLC at the end. So in our case, VA Enterprises LLC. On question number 3, I want you to check individual/sole proprietor. or single member LLC. Number 4 is going to be blank. And number 5 and 6 will be your business address, the address that you used to form your business. Then we're going to bump down to part 1 and we're going to type in our employer identification number. This is the 9-digit number that you get from the IRS. Once ZenBusiness finishes processing your application, you can find this 9-digit EIN in the document section in your ZenBusiness dashboard. Then we're going to scroll down to the signature section and we're going to sign it, physically or digitally. You can also put in today's date. That's it. You don't need to fill out anything else. In fact, don't fill out anything else, it'll mess it up. You don't need to check any boxes, you don't need to write anything else down, and you definitely don't need to fill anything out for tax statuses or exemptions. I learned this the hard way. The last thing you gotta do is save this form on your computer. I also recommend printing it out so you can have another physical copy and you can put it inside the binder that you get from ZenBusiness. Anytime you're asked for this form by someone who wants to pay you, just send it to them and you're done. And that's it. You've officially got everything done that you will possibly need to have a solid foundation as a content creator. You've got an address, an LLC, an EIN, you know how to get a bank account if you haven't already, and you know how to fill out your W9. You're ready to start earning as an official business, as a content creator, and I couldn't be more stoked for you. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. I read all of them. And then watch this video next, because it will be really helpful.